What is going on, guys? It is lividfray, and I hope you guys are doing very well today and enjoying the global events. As you can see, the terminal is pretty full lately, and it's an amazing sight to see. I'm really sorry that I have been behind on the vendor reset. I'm going to go ahead and get to that right now, and I'm going to try and do it just in one run without any cuts. We'll see what actually makes it into the video. This one's actually pretty short and simple. There's really not that many items for sale this week, but there are some that I really want to make sure that you guys take note of because they are pretty decent items. We're going to start right here inside the terminal as we usually do. There is a lightweight M4 for sale this week. Prepared, Ferocious, and Brutal. Not the best talents, but considering Brutal's here and Ferocious is here, you could definitely make this work. If you have somewhat of a balanced build, you could keep Ferocious, or you could keep Prepared and roll something else here instead, like Destructive, and you could make something like that work. The next item that we have for sale is inside the base of operations over here at the Advanced Weaponry vendor. This vendor has a pretty decent extended magazine for sale. Check it out here. We have an extended mag with 121% mag size, 4% critical hit damage, 4.5% reload speed. Very, very good rolls. Almost maxed out. I believe it's 121.5 for max magazine and 5% for reload speed. 4% critical hit damage is maxed out though. I would definitely recommend buying these if you don't have any good extended magazines. And the next vendor we're checking out is going to be Autumn's Hope. Alright, I've made it over here to Autumn's Hope. This vendor is selling a damage to elite mod for us this week at 195 stamina, 3% damage to elites. I would definitely recommend buying these for all of your characters, especially right now with the global events happening. These mods add up a lot of damage. I noticed that I had damage to elite mods on and my grenades at close range were literally one-tapping elites. It was ridiculous, so I definitely recommend buying these if you don't have any of these already. We also have another one for sale at the Cavern, so let's go over to the Cavern and check that one out. Alright, I've made it over here to the Cavern. The one here is an electronics mod, and it is over 200, so it's at 211 electronics, 3% damage to elites. Unfortunately, it's not 4%, but everything counts when you're going for these damage to elite mods, even if your stat is a couple numbers higher or 1% better. These ones are definitely worth picking up no matter what, especially for your tactician build, so make sure that you buy these for your characters. Remember to consider all of your characters, and you really only need 5 total per character, because obviously you can only equip 5 gear mods to a build, so I wouldn't buy anything crazy like 30 of them or anything like that. You only need 5 of them because you can share these same mods across all builds on one character, so you only need 5 per character, so for a total I would do 20 total if you have all 4 characters. The next one we're heading over to is Madison's stand just south of the Dark Zone. Alright, I've made it over here to Madison's stand. We're checking out a performance mod at this vendor this week. This one has a maxed out ally heal mod available. Really, really good for your healer builds, more specifically your tactician support builds and your final measure builds. I have done a final measure build in the past, but I am wanting to do a tactician support build as well, because there's really not enough people that run those, and the pulse that you would provide your team on these builds is very, very good. And if you throw the ally heal mods on and run a defibrillator, you are essentially a walking healer. So I'm going to be doing a build video for that soon. Stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I would definitely recommend buying at least 4 of these for one of your characters, or if you're buying them for all of your characters, make sure you buy enough for all of them. But you only need 4 slots for performance mods across each character, because you obviously, once they're on that character, you don't really need to buy more of them. You can just share those with more builds. The next safe house we're going to be heading to is the Last Call. So this safe house vendor has one of the items that I definitely wanted to make sure you guys knew about this week. They're selling a large suppressor, FDE suppressor, 19% critical hit damage, 5.5 headshot damage, 2.5 critical hit chance. So this has all of the rolls that you need to make it good. You can run these on Predator. Highly recommend running these on any of your PvP builds where you're utilizing crit. These are just perfect to be throwing on. We actually got really lucky with some SR7 suppressors. I think it was last week or week before. So the fact that we have 2 really good ones pretty much almost consecutively is pretty good. Would definitely recommend buying these. They are very, very reliable to have across pretty much all of your characters. The last safe room that we're heading to in the light zone is the Firewall. Alright, I've made it over here to the Firewall vendor. This one is selling a Relentless backpack for us this week. The main reason why I want to recommend this one, I usually always do recommend these, but obviously this one is a really good roll. It has 1260 electronics. It's really not much the maximum is 1272, so you're already really close to maximum roll. It is over a 12,000 skill power. You can just roll bleed resistance over to ammo capacity if you would like to, or disrupt is also a really good one to utilize. The main reason why I'm wanting to emphasize this is because this backpack will work really well with a global event farming method that I'm going to be releasing this week. I want to make sure that I get that out as soon as possible so you guys know some of the best methods for farming the global events. But give me some time because I obviously want to actually play the global events while they're out. Granted, we are going to get them at least every month, but I mean, I haven't played them in over a year, so if you guys can be patient with me while I upload that. But in the meantime, definitely get this Relentless backpack if you don't have any of these, or craft one if you don't already have one. The Relentless backpacks are very reliable to have. Our next stop is going to be a Dark Zone checkpoint, and it's going to be West 46th Street. So this vendor is selling a critical hit damage site that would again work very well in PvP or in builds such as Deadeye or Predator's Mark for PvE. This is the C79 scope. We're only missing one critical hit damage for the maximum number. This is perfect to be throwing on your Predator builds as well as your PvP builds. If you throw this into Last Stand or Skirmish, it is going to optimize up to their highest rolls, and they're already all of the rolls that you need to make them great. You could use this for Deadeye if you want to, but ideally you would want sights with Deadeye that don't have headshot damage, and you would rather go for something more like optimal range. Main reason for that is just because the Deadeye bonus basically eliminates the extra headshot damage that you get, and it goes all specifically for crit. So this headshot damage slot kind of diminishes the whole point of the sight. But in general, this is a really good one to be picking up this week. You could throw this on pretty much any of your builds to make them really good. A huge thank you as usual to my moderator Op for the blueprint footage for the blueprints this week. Starting off inside the terminal, we have the electronics backpack. If you don't feel like purchasing that Relentless backpack that's for sale, you can just go ahead and do this and craft it if you have a lot of the materials. And the next one is the electronics gear mod and the firearm gear mod. Again, I say this pretty much every week. You'd be very surprised at how many good mods you can get just by crafting them. So I would always recommend buying these when they're for sale so you have the option to craft them. We also have the VX1 scope. Unfortunately, we don't have the power level 34 blueprint. That's not possible to obtain. So whenever we get the 33 level, I always recommend buying it. It's only 1% off from the maximum optional. So I always like to recommend purchasing that one because the best one that you can get, I think, is like 17 or 17.5%. And that's only 1% off from the maximum roll. So I like to recommend getting that one. We've head over to Camp Clinton to check out these blueprint vendors, starting off with the extended magazine. This is a power level 34. If you don't feel like buying that one, you can always buy this blueprint and craft them later when you feel like it. We also have the electronics gear mod blueprint, performance gear mod blueprint over here as well. So if you don't feel like waiting for good ones to be for sale, you can always buy these blueprints and craft them whenever you're crafting your builds. That's gonna be it for this week's vendor reset. Hopefully there's some items that you guys will be picking up this week. I definitely recommend purchasing those damage to elite mods as well as that critical hit damage suppressor. But if you didn't like anything this week, there is always next week. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.